नियम आपको बताते हैं कि क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं। नियमों का पालन करने से सुरक्षा प्राप्त होती है। हम सभी को दृढ़ता से नियमों का पालन करना चाहिए। रास्ता पार करते समय अगर लाल बत्ती हो तो हमें रुकना ही चाहिए, अन्यथा दुर्घटना घट सकती है। जब पीली या नारंगी बत्ती जल उठे तो तैयार रहिए और हरी बत्ती जलने पर ही ज़ेब्रा क्रॉसिंग से रास्ता पार कीजिए। खतरे का चिन्ह लगी जगह के पास नहीं जाना चाहिए। हमेशा पगडंडियों पर ही चलना चाहिए। रास्ते पर खेलना बिल्कुल मना है और ये खतरनाक भी है। रास्ता पार करते समय पहले दाईं ओर और फिर बाईं ओर देखने के पश्चात ही पार कीजिए। रास्ता हमेशा ज़ेब्रा क्रॉसिंग पर ही पार करना चाहिए। चलती गाड़ी या बस के पीछे कभी मत दौड़िए। हमेशा कतार में खड़े रहिए। जल्दबाजी करने से किसी को चोट लग सकती है।
Hello students, I am Vinay Kumar Singh, lecturer English in Sardar Patel Inter College, Chargaon, District Jhansi. Dear students, in this video I am going to teach you fourth lesson of poetry, class 12th. Okay, A Lament by P.B. Shelley. Dear students, before teaching you the poem, let's know what type of questions will be asked from poetry section. Dear students, two types of questions will be asked from poetry section. One question will be explanation, for explanation with reference to context for 10 marks. Second question will be central idea. You have to write central idea. Central idea will be for 7 marks. Dear students, before teaching you the poem, I would like to introduce to the poet P.B. Shelley. So let's know something about the poet P.B. Shelley. Dear students, P.B. Shelley was one of the romantics. He was born in Sussex, in England, in 1792 AD. He was noted for his spirit of revolt, his lyrical genius, and his powerful imagination. He was a reputed member of an affluent family. His childhood was ideal one. He went to famous Eton College, where from he got his education. He joined Oxford University, but he was expelled from Oxford University because he was circulating a pamphlet, The Necessity of Atheism. He was one of the romantics who were interested in feelings, not facts. But unfortunately, the poet P.B. Shelley met with his tragic death, with his tragic end, while he was sailing a boat off the Italian coasts. In 1822, at the age of 29, he used his poetry as a critique of social justice. Dear students, P.B. Shelley was an extraordinary poet. Students, before teaching you the poem, I would like to tell you something about the theme of the poem. Dear students, the very poem Lament by P.B. Shelley has a pessimistic note. This is the last poem of Shelley before his premature death. The poem is one of the finest poems composed by P.B. Shelley in 1821 AD. Each and every word of the poem is charged with an indescribable feeling of regret, depression, and disappointment. The poem shows the feelings of the poet to see the worst side of things. The poem shows that the poet is truly the follower of pessimism in his life. Each and every word of the poem gives a message of repentance and remorse. The poet is completely fed up with his life. He finds no hope in this world. He is in utter despair. Students, let's see the explanation. Let's explain the poem stanza wise. Let's see stanza first. First stanza. O world, O life, O time, on whose last steps I climb, trembling at that where I had stood before. When will return the glory of your prime? No more, oh, nevermore. Dear students, the poet is in utter despair. When he says, O world, O life, O time, these words show that the poet P.B. Shelley is in utter despair and disappointment. These words come out of disappointments of his heart. These words are full of pathos because the poet realizes that he has come to the end of his life and time in this world. Dear students, the poet is completely fed up and depressed from his life. He does not have any desire to live in this world. There was no charm in his life. He finds no charm, no attraction in this world. For him, the world is joyless. But now, the time he had enjoyed in the freshness of happiness is over. And that's why he is completely fed up with his life and feels that his death is approaching slowly but surely. Dear students, it appears that the poet has premonition of his approaching death because he died just after he had composed the poem in 1821 and he died in 1822. Dear students, he compares his life to a ladder. He realizes, he imagines that he is standing on the last rung of the ladder of his life because he feels that the time allotted to him in this world is coming to an end. He recalls when he would stand firmly and strongly in the world, but now his legs are trembling like an old man. He is now shuddering, thinking about the troubles and difficulties and problems against which he had fought very boldly in the past. He is very disappointed and full of regrets that the freshness of joy in life and its varied experience he had enjoyed in the past, he had experienced in the past, will never come back. Now, the time has gone forever, never to come back. The beauties of nature that fill him with happiness and joy will never come back. Let's see the meanings of difficult words one by one. O world, O life, O time. Here, students, these words express that the poet is deeply disappointed, very much disappointed with his life. Let's see another word, trembling. Trembling here means to shake slightly because of fear or nervous. Okay? Trembling here means shows nervousness, nervous, or to shake slightly because of fear. Prime. Here in this stanza, prime means youth. Next one, the glory of your prime. Here this expression, this phrase means the freshness of joy in life and its varied experience in the past. Hello students, let's see second stanza. Dear students, as we have seen in the first stanza that the poet is in utter despair. The poet is in utter disappointment and depression. He finds no attraction in this world. He has no desire to live in this world. Dear students, the poet looks on his past life with a faint heart and realizes that the days in this world, the days of his future life are numbered in this world. His days in the world can be counted on fingers. He has no hope in his life. He regrets that his youthful vigor and joy of life that he had enjoyed will never come back. The joys of life will not come back anymore in his life. Now his day and night have become joyless. His day and night have become cheerless and have no attraction, no excitement for him. They have lost their attraction for him because night and day have become cheerless. The beauties of nature. Dear students, the poet realizes that the beauty of nature, like blooming spring, the spring season which is full of fragrance of different kinds of flowers, and sunny summer, sunny season of summer, and the winter which is full of fog, which is full of cold, which is full of fog, will not bring any happiness to him, will not fill his life with any joy, will not excite him with happiness. Instead, these objects of nature fill his heart with grief, with disappointments. The objects of nature are no more source of inspiration, source of happiness, source of joy for him. Instead, these objects fill him with grief and disappointment. Instead of sending a thrill of joy into his mind, into his heart, these objects of nature are only intensifying his grief. And that's why the poet realizes that no delightment, no joy will come back and fill his life with excitement or happiness. Students, let's see the word meaning of the difficult words and phrases of second stanza. Dear students, let's see one by one. Out of the day, the has taken flight. Here first line and second line of the stanza has been taken. It means day and night have become dull and joyless for the poet. Next meaning is hoar. Hoar means frost, white frost. Faint. Faint here means weak and dizzy. Let's see the last one. Move my faint heart with grief. Beauties of nature, instead of filling the poet with joy in the past, now only intensify his sorrow. Students, keep watching my videos. Try to explain the stanza with reference and context. Keep watching my videos. Like and share my videos and subscribe Thanks to all of you for being with me. Once more, thanks to all of you.